Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, semi-joined right now by Rob, who's having a little technical difficulties here. Sure, he'll be joining us shortly here. Unless you can hear us, Rob. Can you hear us? That's a no. We lost him during the intro there. He got bored by the intro. All right, guys. Well, today is a very special episode here for us. We didn't intend on doing an episode today. Those who follow us on a regular basis know we do episodes typically Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights here. But it's officially Saquon Day. It's National Saquon Day here, as what we thought was going to be a long, drawn-out process here turns out to not be a long, drawn-out process, as Saquon Barkley has officially signed on to play for the New York Football Giants for the 2023 season. So overall here, the deal is basically very similar to what the franchise tag was in the end. And keep in mind, it has to be, because you can't redo a contract past the deadline that we had last week here. So basically all they're able to do is add on some incentives, which, to be very frank with you, is not something you really see. And I'm sure it's kind of like just kind of skirting off the rules here to there. So he gets the 1 year, $10.1 million that the New York Giants were able to go ahead and give him there. But in the end, he's able to go ahead and get now some incentives. So he gets $2 million signing bonus. He gets a incentive of $303,000 if he gets 1,300 yards. He gets another $303,000 if he gets 11 total touchdowns. He gets another $303,000 if he gets 65 receptions. And in the end, he's got to also make the playoffs. The Giants have to make the playoffs for him to go ahead. As we got Rob almost back here. Just give us the thumbs up when you're ready, Rob. So he's getting his headsets going here. So it's interesting though. Like it's kind of crazy here. So we got a couple comments already. Angela Roldan, what's up? Says, do we keep him past 1 year? And that's going to be partially up to him. I mean, the Giants have already shown they're going to put their line in the sand. They're not going to pay him more than what the Giants think they should pay him. So in the end, we're going to have to see if Saquon will take next year what the Giants think he's worth. Keep in mind, he'll be a year older. Keep in mind, he's coming off his second best career year. So we don't know what we're going to get from Saquon this year. We can't sit there and say it's an automatic that he gets the kind of year he had last year. He's only done that twice in his career. So we'll have to see. I think they're going to kind of play it by ear, see what happens. Again, they cannot give him a new contract until the year's up. So we're going to have to see where everything lies there at that point. But I'd say it's 50-50, honestly. It truly is. So, and then we got a couple more comments here as well. John Anderson, what's up, man? Says, Saquon's wife said, get your ass in there and sign that contract. I need extra cheese on my Whoppers. I think that Saquon can still afford the extra cheese on the Whoppers. I think bacon as well is also doable. Also, those chicken fries. And if we're talking Burger King, you cannot do Burger King without the Hershey's Sundae pie. Hershey's Sundae pie. Absolutely freaking amazing, by the way, whoever hasn't had one. Then we got Brett Crino from the LinkedIn here. Rob loves our LinkedIn. Corrects our spelling of resigns instead of resigns. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a sports podcast. We don't worry about spelling too much. Let's see. We got Beeve White says, actually, they can sign him to a contract, but it can't be more than 1 year. After that date, let's get with the program. So that's good to know. So I guess so they could pay him more. They couldn't pay that, what you're saying there. So yeah, that would make sense because, like I said, they definitely skirted around the going and getting him a little bit more money, which obviously was the kicker to get him in ready to go and going into the new year here with a contract going into training camp fully. I mean, it's worth paying a little bit extra there, that's for sure. Deb says, I reread that his contract does not preclude getting the tag again next year, but it would have to be 120%, which would bump him up substantially from $10 million. So here's what you got to remember. We say substantial, it's 120%. So you're paying him $12 million instead. The Giants are already willing to pay him $11 million. Everything goes up over time. $12 million is not a big jump at that point for him next year. I got to say, though, I am shocked that he signed a deal that did not preclude them from tagging him this late at that point there. Oh, we got Rob, I think. Rob, are you there?
I joined the show.
Oh, there he is. Rob reporting live from his kitchen.
About to cook John Anderson some eggs.
So, but yeah, I can't believe that he signed a contract that didn't preclude them from tagging him again this early on. So what do you think of the whole thing, Rob? Since I got to talk here for the first 10 minutes.
I think it was a safe bet. I think it was just the best deal that he had on the table that he could take advantage of. Actually, after now seeing the Giants wait it out, knowing that he wasn't going to get that whatever he wanted, $15, $16 million, knowing that he shot himself in the foot between that 12 and 13, whatever it was that came out during the bye week. He's not going to get it. Like, this is the best offer that he could have that was on the table. So he took it. And it looks a little more friendly on both sides.
Yeah, it definitely does. We have a comment on your interior decorating, by the way. Angela says, love the cabinets in the back. Shake my head as I've been corrected. It's not smack my head. I always want to say smack my head.
Yeah.
Listen, it's Rob likes to have snacks while podcasting. So John says you guys always have some special equipment to do these podcasts because Roberto always has issues. LOL. Did you buy the warranty? Roberto sent it back.
The worst part is that it was an iPhone that crapped out on me.
Oh yeah.
Those things are supposed to be easy.
They are. They are. Just it's a user error. Deb also says, I also read that a signing at this point is unusual. I'm a happy camper. It really is. And you know what? We talked about on the show quite often that Saquon is very protective of his image. He's very protective over how he's perceived by the fan base, by the media. I'll tell you this. If you look at what he said in that podcast that he did in that bumblebee sweater he had on, and he did that, what I want to say was it 2-3 days before the deadline. Even that was, people don't remember that sometimes in this. That was shot before the deadline passed. So he was talking about F the team, and I want to think that and stuff like that. But I can't. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of F bombs going back and forth between him and his thoughts on there. Showed his frustration, really vocalizing it big time for that strong, probably for the first time. He got a lot of kickback from fans on that. And I wonder,
get it at the same time.
No, but I'm saying I wonder, did the fan reaction make him go, you know what? There's no win for this at this point. Take what I can get and go and revisit this next year. I have to wonder that because this man cares about his image big time. He really does. Not only does he want to be a Giant for life, which he's mentioned multiple times, he wants to go down as one of the greatest Giants of all time. And he knows what that means. Look at guys like Tiki and Michael Strahan and Phil Simms and what these guys have done in their post-career.
And look how Tiki went out. Like, he is the best at that position currently.
Yep.
But he didn't go out on a high horse. Like he went out and had a good year, but it also left a bad taste in a lot of Giants fans. So I think it was, yeah. I think it's with the Giants fans. I know Barkley met with the Players Association as well. I heard Pat Trana talk.
And there was a Zoom call with a whole bunch of them. Austin Eckler of the Chargers is the one who started it. But Austin Eckler is another one that just got to recognize this is the position you play. This is the going rate for it. You know?
It's and he had the same thing just happened with him over with the Chargers. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't say San Diego. I think about that.
The Chargers was different with him because keep in mind, he's not a free agent. He wanted to get his deal now. And the Chargers didn't want to give him the deal he wanted. And apparently nobody else did either. So,
so that's why they gave him actually $1.8 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, they did a similar thing, giving him incentives and that kind of stuff here too. So then,
I mean, and then also you had other retired players come out and talk to Barkley like, don't do it. You're in your prime. You're going to ruin it. You're going to sit out for a year and you might not come back as strong.
So if everybody else listens to the Believe New York Giants podcast that Carl Banks and Bob Papa do, Carl Banks went off for like half an hour about how Saquon just needed to show up, do it, and then revisit this next year. And I was kind of shocked that Carl Banks did that because Carl Banks is an ex-player, has a great relationship with all the players that are on the team now by all accounts. Keep in mind, he does work for the Giants though too. So you can sit there and say also that he has some ulterior motive to a certain degree as well, potentially. But
a little bit.
He's not wrong with what he said because in the end, Saquon's best bet after that was done was to sign, especially when they offered him a little bit more money like they did in incentives. Still, they offered him more money, sign, and move on. You miss your chance to take the money.
And we talk about he's all about his image, but he's also a guy that's betting on himself. And you know what? The bet he took during the bye week, the bet that he took leading up to the situation, he lost that bet.
Listen, as a great man once said, sometimes you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's a betting man that's going to bet on himself, sign it now. You know when to fold them and revisit it.
Yeah. And that's what it sounds like he's doing. He's gotten the right advice to do that. So we've got a couple more comments. We'll go to that real quick, and then we'll talk about the rumors that started right afterwards there. Thanks to Mike Florio.
And Odell.
John Anderson says, was it a reconditioned phone? LOL.
iPhone, no.
And John Anderson says, my neighbor's kid was like, why is Saquon cursing so much? I said, we're in fucking Jersey. What the fuck do you want? That's true. That's why we curse so much. Let's see. We got Angelo also saying, what wide receivers is Daniel throwing to? Last year was a disaster. Dude, we got so many wide receivers. It's not even funny. We have like 15 wide receivers on this roster.
Special. 10 slot receivers.
So we definitely don't have the problem we had last year. You can still say we don't have a number one receiver, but we have so many receivers, it's not even funny. We have so many B-level receivers, it's not even funny. Let's see.
Yeah.
Deb Ellis.
We didn't even have Robinson.
Oops, we're moving around here. We guys got a couple. Says, oh, this thing's moving around like crazy. What's this thing doing here? This button's here. Okay, she says, on a happier note, Tony had to have surgery on his dinged knee. Exactly. He had surgery to repair a partially torn meniscus here this morning. So Andy Reid said timeline-wise, there's a chance for him to play in the first game. I think the Giant fans, I think we all know what those mean. Chances. You
for that?
Then we got John Anderson again. Good for you, Carl Banks. Old school guys did what they did. So guys like Saquon get this crazy money you get. Here's the thing, though. Carl Banks was a different generation as well, though, because he was also pre-free agency. And Carl Banks was late to training camp multiple times, as he talked about himself even on the show. But he blamed it on George Young not picking up the phone until training camp started. So I don't know how much of that is true there, but I have to imagine if he's saying it publicly, there's people who will back him up that that's the way it is here. So let's see here. We got Trenton Anderson also giving a comment here, but we're not going to put it up on the screen because he said He was rooting for a certain team in Dallas in the process, but he said, Giants are terrible and Barkley deserves better. By the way, I got to give a little shout out to Tritton here because he is part of the Super Biased Sports Show that I spent about half an hour trolling on for this evening here. Fun time. The guys are good at taking jokes there, so by all means, follow them. Again, Super Biased Sports Show is where they are on YouTube, is where I was watching them. Pretty good show there. If you're like me, by all means, go for all the sports shows because I love going on the ones that are live and just having a little fun with the guys, especially if they have a sense of humor. These guys had a sense of humor, so that's always good. All right, so let's get on to the rumors here. Rumor has it, he said,
Dell showing up to camp. Rumor has it they showed up to camp today.
That's the flex. That's respect, man. Respect right back to you, man. Like I said, always like somebody who can take a good joke. So Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, after this was signed and announced, well, it wasn't signed officially yet, I think, but it was announced it was a done deal, said the Giants were shopping Saquon at his reps' request earlier this offseason, couldn't find any takers. And everybody was like, whoa, really? Like, wow. Since that's happened, multiple people have refuted that report, including Saquon himself. You know, Saquon loves to share things to get the blue cap. He gave 4 blue caps, I think, on this one. That's how much she said was crap. So I think there should be just like a dog pile of poop there. Like, you know, like I think that
we should do a show just tallying them up.
Yeah, Italian. How many? This is a 4 cap alert. 4 cap alert.
Yeah. Off the crap alarm.
4 capper.
The Chief Maker Man with the what you call it, the horn.
Yeah. And Mike Florio is one of those guys. For those who aren't aware, because I know, you know, some of us listen and see what people in the sports world, quote unquote, are saying on a regular basis, and some don't. Mike Florio is one of those 50-50 guys. 50-50. He's a guy that, you know, he'll say a lot of outlandish things, and sometimes he's right, and sometimes he's not right. And I think he's just one of those guys that he hears a story, he runs with it. He doesn't take the time to go through and verify it. Just goes, okay, ooh, this is a good one. Let's go put this out there. And especially on the day that Saquon signed, you know, Saquon's in the news like crazy. It's a perfect time to put it up there. And, you know, all of a sudden it was a huge story. And I'm still seeing it circulating around Giants groups and stuff like that. Guys, it didn't happen.
Yeah, we talked about it this morning, and like when you send me that article, I'm like, how reliable are these sources?
Like I said, it was what we had at the time.
Yeah.
So now we know better. So Saquon's there. Saquon is as happy as he can be given the situation. There was no trade talks at that point. And like I said, I'm glad to tell you guys that that's a BS story. Don't follow Mike Florio because, as Tritton says here, they do it for the clicks and the likes. And that's exactly what they do.
So they get paid.
Now, what I like now is we're getting started to get some trolling of the Cowboy fan in the comments section here, too. That's always nice. I love that it's all in jest. Like, we have people from Eagles. We have you know, we've had Packer fans in here. We have Cowboy fans in here. And we all joke around and have a good time. It never goes personal. So I love that. I love that we do that. So I hope that tradition continues. So it's great that we can go back and forth like that, all be adults and no one get butthurt in the process. John Anderson says all slot receivers. We need deep receivers, big, strong, tough guys. We need Shane to find someone. Here's the thing. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on this, Sean. This is not the offense we're running. The offense we're running is quick, dink and dunks, getting the yak.
Yep.
A big, strong receiver doesn't do that. That's part of why Kenny Golladay struggled in this offense. Part of why is because of the issues he's having with coming back from injury. I think he lost a step. He also seemed to have lost 2 hands in the process as well somehow. But overall, overall, though, that's what it boils down to is a big, strong receiver does not fit this offense. It fit the Jason Garrett offense as best as you can fit that crappy offense. But it does not fit the Daboll Kafka offense. It just doesn't. That's why, at least part of why, they didn't go after DeAndre Hopkins. It's not a fit. Just not.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you still got Slayton to run the deep ball. You still got Shepard, who's still running the outside, but, you know, he's best in the slots. I mean, just look at what this offense has done. We got our number one receiver is going to be our tight end.
Exactly.
Right. We got a whole bunch of guys that are great in the slot. We got one of the best running backs in the back of the game that could catch the ball. And then we got a couple blocking tight ends as well.
$400,000.
Yeah.
But
you think about it. But think about it. Like, you think about this offense. What are they going to do? Throw it here, give it back, throw it back, throw it here, throw it there, and you might not see any player. You might not see any receiver.
They're going to spread that thing around like butter on a bagel before they put a pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwich together at that point. Oh, I want a pork roll.
Don't say the Village Bicycle. Everyone gets a ride.
That's not usually a bicycle we're talking about. We say that reference.
I know.
John
gets monetized on YouTube.
John Anderson says to Trenton, "Shameful, you're an Anderson and you like the cow pukes. Drew, can you smack his head?" I can't. He's not next to me. Angelo says, "I'm going to Giants versus Jets game. Are we winning? Aaron Rodgers alert. We beat Rodgers last year. Why not do it again?" Just saying.
I bet New York will win.
So Trenton says they do it for clicks and likes. We just said that a minute ago there.
Yep.
John Anderson says, Trenton, at least we have Super Bowls since VHS tapes. Listen, John, he can convert those over to DVD and Blu-ray.
Listen, they have a DVD and Blu-ray.
They have shops that do that. They have shops that do that. All right, so let's get into other news here for the day, because we also had some big news on some players hitting the PUP list, as all these players are starting to show up for camp. If you were on Giants social media at all today, they're showing pictures of these guys all showing up. And it's funny because I'm telling you, if you want a reminder of how old you are, if you're like my age, like the 40s and stuff like that, then look at these guys when they show up to training camp and you realize how young they look out of uniform. Like, you see them sometimes, like, but he sees a lineup of like these 20-year-olds, like, damn, I feel old now. I feel really old, like shit. Like, what the hell? When did I get so old? When did this happen? But yeah, so all these 20-year-olds came up to camp today. So they announced the ones who begin on the PUP list here. So Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson,
not that shot.
Aaron Robinson, DJ Davidson, Marcus McKethan, and the one we talked about yesterday's episode where he said, you notice we haven't seen him and they signed a defensive tackle. A'Shawn Robinson also starts on the PUP list as well. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these guys were because of ACL injuries from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So just because they start on the PUP list doesn't mean they stay on the PUP list.
No, that's the whole reason of the PUP list. This way you get more guys on the roster, and then they're allowed to let them sit there for the year. Once they get their week one roster going,
they have to rest up and get puppy power.
Yeah.
Puppy power. We also had two big names that did not end up on the PUP list here, which was nice. Yes. You want the hashtag? Go for the hashtag. Go for Rob. Go for it. Oh, you lost you're muted now. You're muted. Oh, you missed your moment. Another technical difficulties. There he goes. Nope, we lost him again.
Here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Go for it, Rob. Yeah. Go for the hashtag.
Just trying to podcast here. Hashtag save our beavers.
Hashtag save our beavers. Darian Beavers is back, guys. He does not start the season on the PUP. He's back in the beeve. Leave it to be.
Beeve attack.
So also Colin Johnson, the new fan favorite, and I swear Sill's army is just moving right over to Colin Johnson for some reason. Again, guys, I say this every time we talk about Colin Johnson. I'm going to say it again. Don't expect
no one receiver.
He's coming off the ACL. He was nothing before the ACL. He's probably still nothing. I know he had a great preseason. That doesn't mean he's anything. There's players that have good preseasons because they play in the fourth quarter against guys that won't even make the league. Calm yourselves.
Yeah.
If he ends up being something great, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's not likely. We have to be serious. I see all these Giants content creators and podcasts and all like, oh, Colin Johnson, I'm excited to see what he can do. He's a scrub, guys. Calling it what it is. He is a scrub. Respectfully, of course, with all due respect. He's a guy who's going to be bottom level wide receiver to a practice squad guy in this league. And if he makes anything more, great. He's a giant. I'll be freaking ecstatic if he's anything more than that. But I can't expect more than that because history shows us this is what he is.
If you see him on the field a lot this year, something has terribly gone wrong.
Or
terribly gone right for him.
Yeah, exactly. One of the two. But chances are it's the first one that something's gone extremely wrong. So we also had Jamison Crowder has been sidelined with a non-football injury. They haven't released what that is.
I saw something before we jumped on. It's something to do with his calf. It wasn't something to.
Oh, crazy. I mean more like what did he do? That's what I'm more curious about. Like, did he play like a basketball game or something like that and hurt himself? Like, that's usually what it is. They did something, at one point there. But yeah,
it was embarrassing.
Calf injury is all they said at that point
chips on the couch, and when he went to go put the recliner down, he strained it.
Strained his calf. Taking it with Tony apparently. We also have another injury. Vernon Butler. Vernon Butler did not even report to camp at all, and he's been fighting an injury through most of the offseason there. So I don't know if that's been allowed by the Giants. They haven't said that. All we've heard is he hasn't reported to camp, and he's on an injury. He's still on reserves. He's still technically a Giant. They haven't cut him or anything like that. We'll have to see how that goes down. But again, we talked about this yesterday. We talked about, the Giants signed a defensive tackle. I wonder what happened. Well, here it is today now. Ashawn Robinson on the PUP list. Vernon Butler not showing up to camp. I wonder why they signed a defensive tackle. Again, camp bodies. So, speaking of camp bodies, Giants also signed Tayshawn Bauer today, the outside linebacker / defensive end from Livingston, New Jersey. Jersey boy, another Jersey boy here. Guys played 6 years in the league, guys. He's been in 26 games, had 3 starts. Again, what does history tell us about him? Don't expect much.
We'll be working at the Foot Locker in Wayne.
He'll probably be in like the XFL or something, or somebody's practice squad where he spent most of his career. And listen, there's no shame in that. That's a whole lot better than you or I are in football. So, but I just love how people get excited, like start watching tape on these guys. I'm not watching tape on some scrub that probably won't even make the roster. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
If he makes the roster or looks good in camp or something, then maybe I'll do some research on the guy. Until then, that's all I need to hear is 6 years. He's had 3 starts.
Well, 3 starts.
Yeah, I'm good. Calling it like it is, guys. That's where we're at tonight. Giants also a game a year. Speaking of scrubs, Giants also released Ellerson Smith and Tristan Thompson. So Tristan Thompson, we know, has been a bubble roster guy for a while now. Ellerson Smith has been on every episode of the show ER since he's been in the NFL. Basically, it feels like.
I mean, George Clooney are on a first name basis.
I mean, I feel bad for the guy because it's like a health thing is one of those things that you kind of hate, like joking around about to a certain degree. But it's one of those things at the same point that it's a business decision. It's not personal, but you got to feel bad for a guy who's fought hard to get back from injuries and just can't stay healthy. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, you put yourself at his shoes for a second. That sucks. Like, get drafted by an NFL team, never really get the chance to see the field because you can't stay healthy. That's kind of crazy. But
it sucks. But also on the other side, if you're going to go buy a TV that only turns on 50% of the time, you're probably not going to continue to try to use that TV.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I'm not knocking
it. And that's what the Giants are looking at. I'm just trying to put it in a different sideline. Like I'm just
trying to look at, like, this is not a Tony situation where we laugh at his injuries because he's a schmuck. That's all.
No.
Like, this is not a Tony thing.
This is a decision done because it's a business, not because some toxic.
We got a couple more comments here, and these comments are really just Tritton and John going at it. It's an Anderson fight here, basically. It's an Anderson, it's an Anderson versus Anderson, basically here. So Tritton says Eli is long gone, fellas, and I'm going to say this: Eli is not nearly as long gone as Troy Aikman is. Just saying. John says Can you imagine if Eli Manning had these coaches, coordinators, and receivers tight end? I bet he's staying in shape just in case Daniel comes out of retirement. I say that's not happening, John. He likes doing the Monday night football.
For sure.
I think that's pretty safe to say.
Eli Manning show.
Trenton says, just like Eli is gone, so is your Super Bowl hopes. Listen, here's the thing, Trenton. Here's the thing about Giant fans that you'll learn very quickly, especially if you pop into the show more often. We're not the fan base that thinks we're going to win the Super Bowl every year. If we're being very honest, the years we win the Super Bowl, even, we don't think we're going to win the Super Bowl until it happens.
I was about to say, pretty sure a lot of Giants fans told me that Eli would never win us a Super Bowl in 2006.
We're not that fan base. The Cowboys, that's that fan base. That's the fan base every year. We them boys, we're going to do it. It's been almost 30 years.
Why is ESPN always saying the same thing, too? Who's going to go to Super Bowl this year? Green Bay, the Patriots.
Because they have the biggest, it's placating to the fan base. That's all it is. They have the bigger fan bases. We can be honest about that. The teams with the biggest fan base, the teams with the biggest fan base are the Steelers, the Packers, and the Cowboys.
The Patriots is definitely up there, but they're also one of the most hated teams. Same with the Cowboys.
The Patriots were up there because of Brady. Since then, they've gone back down to reality. Oop, there goes gravity.
Yeah. Just like Sandra Bullock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. She's defying gravity. We went from Eminem to the movie Gravity to Wicked, the musical. I'm just saying. That's what we just did there, guys. Just saying. John says, okay, time to eject Rin Tin Tin. Oh, my God. Trenton says, come on, John. We are family. John says, oh, you're adopted. Oh, my gosh. Love it. And Deb says, when you're talking about the injuries and the TV you throw out if it doesn't work half the time, she says, like you're using Rob.
Works now.
Trenton starts laughing. Trenton says Troy is still relevant, not as a football player. It's been almost 30 years since he's played. Just say
Troy Aikman looks like Jay-Z's half brother.
Trenton says, you guys lucked up. We didn't luck up. We clutched up. We were clutch when it matters, and that's what matters in the end. Cowboys always win in the regular season. They do. Listen, Cowboys are not been a bad team in the last 10, 15 years. Basically, since Romo and Drew Brees and Drew Bledsoe and that era started there when they got Parcells. But they've been a team that's done very good in the regular season and done nothing in the postseason, basically. Don't forget, we steamrolled over you guys to win that first ring with Eli. Just saying.
Listen, it's nice that you pick out the prom queen and take her to prom, but you got to finish it.
Exactly.
Can't
exactly.
Finish. You got the homecoming king, then. Anyway, before I get canceled.
I feel like there's like a homecoming thing that Rob wants to confess about. Did you have a bad experience at homecoming as a high schooler?
Who was it picked?
No one made me the king. Hey, we got Big Dash Nose here. What's up, Dash Man? Giant fans, if you guys are on here watching us live here, see this little logo on the screen here. Follow this man. This man also does very good work as well. And unlike Trenton here, he actually knows a good team when he sees one. Real Cowboy fans don't say we are Super Bowl caliber. I never say that. Listen, I'm telling you right now, you are the minority of Cowboy fans. If not, then you need to talk to your fan base, because like a lot of things in life, the dumbest ones are the loudest ones. Because we always hear it every year. This is why people hate Cowboy fans. Just saying. It's being real about it. Speaking of real, he says, I'm one of the more realistic fans. So you agree your team is trash. Okay. Anyway. Big Dash says that opening week win against the Cowboys will be fantastic. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Then Trenton says, we are definitely a regular season team. I think this year we will have a more competitive postseason, but I still don't think we are Super Bowl ready. I'll tell you right now, man, I think this is, and I know we're talking Giants here, but I'm going to give this little tidbit here on my personal thoughts on the Cowboys season. And I said it, Trenton, in your show, if you saw the comment as well. If the Cowboys do not make a deep run this year, you're going to see an overhaul next year. You will see an overhaul next year.
Sell.
McCarthy will be gone. You'll have Dak Prescott will probably be gone, and they will rebuild. Keep in mind the guys that you signed, you traded for, I should say, Gilmore, Cooks, they're older players as well. They'll probably be gone. I'm telling you right now, it'll be like the publisher's clearinghouse. Like I'm telling you, like you'll be seeing everything cleaning house there. I'm telling you. I hate most Cowboy fans. Hey, we agree on something. There we go. So, all right, let's get into other news here. We got a couple more tidbits of news here. So, Giants hire Mike Adams, former Pro Bowl safety, as the assistant special teams coach. So that role has officially been filled. Yeah,
which is needed to do something because I'm going
to say this as well, and I haven't seen anybody else talk about this really. Like, don't get me wrong, like. The man is hired to do a job as assistant special teams coach. But if you think having a guy of that caliber in the locker room is not going to help guys like Xavier McKinney, it's not going to help guys like Dane Belton, it's not going to help, basically every single guy basically in that safety group. Like, that's insanity to think that. I mean, this is a guy that had a great NFL career. Again, we talked before about not Hall of Famer, but Hall of Good. This is a guy that he's still young enough that the guys know who he is and respect him overall. The guy literally played in the league from 2004 to 2019. Think about that for a minute. That's impressive. Multiple-time Pro Bowler. Like, this is an impressive career this man had. So, like I said, I think that's something that I think should be stated because we're talking about trying to build up the defense more and more. And I would not be shocked if he does eventually end up helping with the safeties as well at some point. Because if not, the safeties will come to him. This is the way this works in the league.
Yeah,
if you are a guy who played a position very well, and I am a guy who plays a position currently that you were playing very well, I'm going to pick your brain. And if I don't, shame on me.
Yeah.
Point blank, shame on me. So I think this is going to help the defense along with also helping the special teams as well as he starts getting his feet wet in the coaching career here with the NFL. Let's see here. We got a couple more comments here. John Anderson says, "You're right. Cal Bukes are not Super Bowl ready. Say goodbye to Dak is whack." Trenton says, "Good work, fellas. Love the show. Hate the team." And got to take that off. He said about the team again. He got me this time. He's catch you guys next one. Take it easy, man.
Appreciate it.
All right. We do have one bit of news to go over also for you guys here. That is not Giants related. But
it is a little bit.
A little bit. We're gonna make a turn into the Giants with this. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert officially has two things.
Got extended.
Along with having hair extensions, he also has a contract extension now. Living that LA life. Look at that. 5 years, $262.5 million, guys. Yeah,
wow.
Massive contract. The guy has $250 million he's going to make in 5 years, guys. That's pretty good.
A lot of it's guaranteed, too.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that he's got a fat sack to sit on there of money.
Listen, he better watch when he sits. That's how fat his sack is of money. But we talked about this when Daniel Jones first signed, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you guys are way overpaying Daniel Jones. Oh my God, you're overpaying this guy so much." Listen, $40 million. We talked about when guys start signing. Keep in mind, Burrow, I'm looking at you. You haven't signed yet. As of right now, Daniel Jones is tied for 10th highest annual value contract amongst quarterbacks. 10th. He is tied with the aforementioned Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford. So Daniel Jones is ranked between 10 and 12 in annual value. I think it's safe to say that Daniel Jones is between like 10 and 12 as far as quarterbacks.
Currently, how he's played. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a slightly above average quarterback, which would put him in that 10 to 12 range. That's what he is. So, for all of us that were, oh my God, you just paid this guy $40 million. Yeah, that's what the going rate is for a slightly above average quarterback. And in a couple of years, he's going to either do one to two things, get outplay that contract, and Joe Schoen will get a freaking genius, or he's going to be gone. And
he doesn't do it, and
that's
100%. And then they save money instead of tagging him.
Exactly.
So then he looks like a genius again.
We've talked about the moves. All these moves we would not be able to make if we had tagged Daniel Jones, Karaki signing and all that kind of stuff. So, listen, Joe Schoen, we got to give some credit. We got to give credit because we got Daniel Jones on a long-term contract. We've secured the quarterback that we hope is our QB of the future with the way to get out of it if he's not in a couple years. Genius. Then
100%.
we avoid overpaying for Saquon. And the Giants still find a way to make him happy enough to show to camp and be there for the full training camp. I tip my hat to you, good sir, Joe Schoen.
Yeah. Cool.
Because, seriously, damn good job. If that guy's not executive of the year, if this team is half as good as I think they're going to be, then there's a problem. Because this team has the potential to do something very special this year. It really does. If you look at the way this roster is being built, if the offensive line is better.
I was about to say, that's the biggest question. And that's something that
they can hold up. That's the two question marks. That's legit question marks.
Yeah. And I wonder, I don't know if we want to go into this episode, but I mean,
let's go. Remember all kinds of off-topic things. Go for it.
Remember last season when people came out like, "Oh, Jones didn't look so good in the offseason. Jones didn't look so good in practice. Jones didn't look so good in his practice." And everyone came out and said like, "I don't know what they're doing. He doesn't look so good." And after week one, they didn't embarrass themselves. Look good. They're like, "Yeah, I told Wink Martindale, Dave was like, yeah, I told Wink Martindale to throw the kitchen sink at him, and I told him what plays we're going to play because I wanted to test Daniel Jones." You think they're going to do that to Evan Neal this year?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think they're going to try to build Evan Neal up, actually.
I think they're going to try to build him up, but at the same time, they're going to see it because he's been making moves, so they're going to see,
Yeah, I really do think they're going to try to build Evan Neal up, and they're going to try to get him going with a confidence booster because I think they realize that mentality is going to be key to that. I really just don't think that's going to happen. But like I said, we'll see. Joe Schoen, has done a great job putting his team together overall this year with what he's had. Because keep in mind, he's still been strapped for cash. And Brian Daboll has proven in the past to be very good at coaching up with the talent he has. I mean, look at that team last year and what they did. That team was not a good team, guys. Let's be very honest.
That team on paper should have had 4 wins.
That team beyond paper should have had just 4 or 5 wins. I mean, we had guys that were backing clerks at ShopRite becoming wide receivers next week. I mean, it's that's how bad it was. Yeah. We had an offensive line falling apart.
Make them look like household names.
We had a secondary that couldn't stay healthy. We had one of our 2 big edge rushers that was averaging a sack a game, but only played 5 games. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we were dealing with all year long. So, listen, the team's together now. You got to get excited, guys. You got to get excited.
They made some great offseason moves so far.
And I'm not saying Super Bowl bound. I'm not saying that. But this is the first time that as a Giant fan, I can go into the season and say exactly that. We're going to be competitive. We're not going to get our asses handed to us. We're not going to be embarrassed the whole season. That's something I haven't been able to say in the last couple of years going into the season. Probably not since 2016 or 2017.
Yeah.
Because 17, I went in with higher hopes. It just didn't go very well.
This is true. Yeah, it's about that. Yeah.
So here's this not being 2017 all over again.
Cheerio.
All right, guys. So tomorrow night, guys, we will be back on for you guys live again with the Wednesday night edition here, going over to the start of training camp, going over things that we want to look for during training camp, give you guys a report and anything that was seen and done on the first day of training camp again as well. So obviously we do typically do a Thursday night episode as well. We'll have to see what goes on to see what we do as far as that here. We may just end up having the schedule moved around this week and do it that way as 3. We may do a 4th episode. We shall see. Depends on how much goes down. We've promised you guys before, we're not going to give you BS episodes where we play-by-play the training camp practice and try to just do it for bait clicks and stuff like that. We're not going to be that show. So if something legit happens, we'll be on. If something like Rob and I decide, hey, we got this show we still want to do based on this or that, we'll be on. We'll know for sure for Wednesday. Rob and I got to talk about that one still. We haven't really had much of a chance. Things have been coming down left and right here. So, like I said, we'll definitely be on Wednesday, tomorrow night. 50-50 will be here Thursday. We'll see. The best way to find out, though, if we're on live is to hit the bell on YouTube. So subscribe, like. Again, we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. Rob loves my LinkedIn. Yep. And we're on Twitch. We started also sharing the show also on Threads as well. The new meta, the Twitter takeover here. Yeah. But it's just a link to the YouTube. It's not an actual, live thing there. So you might as well just go to YouTube anyway. Just skip the middleman. As always, guys, we are also available, and we're going to be on the audio podcast platforms as well. We'll be on Spotify. We'll be on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, all the big ones there, Google, all that fun stuff there. So make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and that stuff as well there for you. Every download counts. John says, let's invade Rin Tin Tin's podcast that he goes to, LOL. Actually, John, they asked me to come on the next one. So feel free to invade because I'll be on as well. And I think it'd be fun to have people invade there. And keep in mind as well, guys, that if you are or haven't yet subscribed to YouTube, whenever we go on to another show, we have the option in some of the programs to share it to some of our platforms as well. The one I would do first is YouTube. The one I would do second is Facebook. So if you guys haven't subscribed to those two yet, do it now because you'll know at that point on any other shows like that. Because, like I said, that was a show literally I just went on and started trolling. So, and all in good jest. And you guys know I like to mess around, but I try not to be too much of a legit hater at that point. I want to be a jerk about it. But if you can have a little fun in life, what's the point? So we're doing it. We're having fun. All right, guys. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow night here talking about the start of training camp here and what to expect there. Appreciate you guys coming on for this very special episode. It's Saquon's back. Saquon's back. Saquon's back. Saquon's back. The team is all back.
We did it.
Now. We did it. We did it with that overspending. That's the key.
Boys are back together.
So
boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town.
Today. As of today, they all report to town.
John says,
well, except for the pups.
All right, guys. As always, Giant fans, go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
Go G-Man! G-Man! And go rob the Best Buy.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?